All right, greetings everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. All right, so before I begin this video, I want you guys to do something for me. I want you to go over to my other channel, that's Social Studies With. Why is it Social Studies With? And I am on Social Studies With now. I mean, Corey Fences. That's my other channel. I need you to go over there. I'm going to put the link in the description What is wrong with me tonight? Sure. I'm going to put the link in the description box and you are going to click on it, go over to my Corey Fences channel and watch some of the videos. Subscribe as well if the videos pique your interest. But I need to get to 4,000 watch hours on that channel. So just pause this video and do that for me. All right, so this video is about social issues for social studies. All right, so as you can see on the screen, a social issue is a widespread behavior that a large section of the population thinks is undesirable or unacceptable and is not easily solved. There are several social issues that affect Caribbean families, and we are going to look at some of them right now. First one that we are going to look at on screen is substance abuse, right? For most of the social issues, there are a lot of definitions out there that you can just simply Google and find them. And we are going to also look at some of the causes of the social issues, some consequences, and also some solutions. One solution that is universal for almost all social issues is counseling. So if you don't remember any solution, you can always draw on counseling because that is a good one for almost all the social issues. Depends on how you use it, by the way. All right, so the first one is substance abuse. This is the use of illegal substances or the use of prescription or over-the-counter drugs for purposes other than, those for which they are meant to be used or in excessive amounts. Some of the causes for substance abuse include peer pressure. Some people take it in order to assist in coping, experimental, and curiosity. 1 second. Let's go again on the causes. Some of the causes include peer pressure, meaning persons within the same age group, one person might see them doing it and they might influence them to also do it. In that they can say, boy, it's the in thing to actually smoke or take cocaine or pop pills. So that might be an influence to it as well. Some people take these substances in order to cope with whatever problems or struggles that they are currently facing. Some persons take it out of, just being curious, or they want to experiment to see what it is like or how it feels. Some persons are persuaded into taking these substances or abusing these substances. Some persons are persuaded based on advertisements, and also you can be persuaded through peer pressure, right? Some persons might do it to copy their role models because somebody that they look up to, they see doing it, so they think that it is acceptable to do. Some of the consequences of doing this is health issues, and there are a whole lot of health issues that can come up as a result of substance abuse. People can have cancer of the lungs, the throat, the mouth, your kidney can be destroyed as well, right? And there are several other health issues as well. People might develop asthmatic conditions, breathing problem, heart problem, and so forth. One, destruction of the family, because sometimes drugs affects the mind of people, so they might become mentally unstable, and that might be a bad thing for the family, right? They can go there and engage in negative social activities, becoming a juvenile delinquent that we are going to look at later, and then the family have to find lawyer fee. Some family might be hurt or end up dead because of this. There's also a decrease in productivity because some of these substances slows down the human body, right? People just want to sleep and lay down in a bed all day and not being their usual self. There's increased spending to support the habit, right? And it also causes some people to have poor judgment. Some solution, there can be education programs telling persons about the consequences of substance abuse There can also be laws with penalties for possession. So if you are caught with it, there are stiff penalties for this, right? Laws with severe penalties for selling to juveniles and selling to anybody, right? Once it is illegal or it's an overuse, there should be strict laws. There can be rehabilitative institutions that help people to get off these substances and no longer abuse them. All right, are we following? Let's look now at another social issue, right? Another social issue is child abuse. I hope everyone is seeing my screen. Let me try and increase the view. All right. So another one is child abuse. This is mistreatment of a child by a parent or guardian, including neglect, beating, and sexual molestation. Some of the causes include substance abuse. The parent or guardian might be under the influence and just abuse the child, right? As a result of domestic violence, poverty, poor communication, frustration, right? Sometimes, many times, the parents and guardians take out their frustration on the child by abusing them, whether it's physical or sexual or neglect, right? There is inadequate supervision of the child. So the child is not under constant watch by a parent or guardian to somebody just continuously abuse the child. Good. Some of the consequences now. A victim of child abuse might become a juvenile delinquent, and that is somebody who engages in negative social activities, right? They might become a delinquent as a result of acting out because of the abuse. Some of them might become substance abusers as a way of coping with the abuse. Some of them might run away from home because they can't take the abuse anymore and become street children. Some of them might develop trust issues because many times they are being abused by persons who they trust. Good. Some solutions, better communication in the home. So children should be told, or they should be encouraged to have a voice in the home. No longer should children be told that they must be seen and not be heard, and they can't say anything. They say anything, the parents run them and say, move away from here, shut up. Right? Parents need to start believing their child if they say that they are being abused, right? Parents, guardians must spend time with the children so they can find out what is happening in the day-to-day lives of these children, right? Another social issue now is domestic violence. This is violent or aggressive behavior within the home, typically involving the violent abuse of a spouse or partner. Some of the causes, again, we see substance abuse keep repeating itself, because when substances are abused, it affects the mind, it affects judgment, it affects the emotional state of many persons. So sometimes they are not emotionally aware of what they are doing. Understand? Sometimes domestic violence is as a result of frustration. One partner can't take it anymore, so they take out the frustration on the other partner. Sometimes low self-esteem and jealousy is a big one. They see the partner talking to the opposite sex and they automatically believe that they are together, or they are be sexually active with the person, so they just abuse them, right? Or they hurt them physically or verbally, right? And verbal abuse is just as powerful as physical abuse, right? Some of the consequences can cause the abuser to have low self-esteem, no value, no self-worth, inability to trust too. They might be depressed because they have been abused over a period of time, right? So they just feel low, feel worthless, no reason for living. There can be also poor academic performance, because domestic violence don't only affect adults, but it affects children too, because many times children are witnesses to these domestic violent incidents, and they themselves are also abused and become a victim of domestic violence as well. Solutions: counseling to help the abused to cope, and also we can try to help the abuser. Don't think that we should be done and over with the abuser, but the abuser can get help to change his or her behavior. And please note that not only men carry out domestic violence, but we have some women out there who actually abuse their men. Like, beat up the men. Understand? Education campaigns to show the ills of domestic violence, laws with severe penalties for those who actually carry out domestic violence, and referring the victim to a support group to help them cope, right? Put them in a community to know that they are not alone and they can actually be saved or be helped. Good. Next social issue is juvenile delinquency, right? This describes acts of vandalism or petty crimes carried out by young people or juveniles. Another definition for juvenile delinquency is engaging when persons under the age of 18 engages in negative social activity. That's also a very good definition for juvenile delinquency. Causes: abusive home. So the juvenile just go out and say, look here, I'm just going to be engaged in some negative social activities. Good. Peer pressure, they're following their friends, right? Because they see their friend doing something, they think it is okay, so they start to do it as well. There's also parental absence, so the child is really on their own, so they do whatever they please. Good. Poverty, so as a means of coping, they go out there and steal. Understand? They go out there and rob people, right? Sometimes the girl becomes sexually promiscuous and starts to sell her body as a way of taking care of herself because she's from a poor family and can't afford certain things. There's also because of lack of discipline in the home, right? So the child just act out because there's really no supervision. There are no rules and sanctions if the rules are broken. Good consequences: alienation of friends and family members. Friends and family members may not want to have anything to do with the delinquent, right? Because they don't want that delinquent to influence younger children, or they don't want to be responsible for that delinquent if they get themselves in trouble, or if they hurt other persons, or if they become hurt by other persons, right? There might be conflict and breakup of the family as a result, because people just can't deal with some of these things. Financial costs, if the person get themselves in trouble, to pay for a lawyer, you understand, replace people, things that might have been damaged or stolen. Negative influences on other family members, which we discussed earlier. Solution now: parenting skills sessions, because in order for someone to become an effective parent, they must be informed. You can't become a parent unless you have the requisite knowledge and skills, because people don't just parent so and the skills and knowledge drop out of the sky, right? So parenting sessions that teaches them the skills and give them the knowledge is very important. After school skills training classes to get that juvenile occupied so that they will not have so much time on their hands to be engaged in negative social activities. Counseling, as I said, is universal. Show them why what they are doing is wrong and find out the root cause as to why they have become a juvenile delinquent. Good education programs, spending time together. As I said, one main function of a family is to provide emotional and psychological support. And you can check out my video on functions of the family where I expound more on that. Another social issue is human trafficking. This involves the movement of people away from their communities to another place where they are made to work against their will using deception or force. And human trafficking is a big thing in the world. Many of us might not be aware of it, but it's a big thing. Many times when you see persons on the news, I'm talking about in Jamaica now, there's a section on TVJ News where they talk about missing persons. Many of those missing persons are victims of human trafficking. So human trafficking is a big business. It's a massive social issue. Many families have lost loved ones for years because of human trafficking, right? Some of the causes of human trafficking is unemployment. So persons are promised jobs in other countries or other areas of a particular country. And when they go for these jobs, they are never returned and you never hear from them. They have been trafficked, right? So they have been held and taken to somewhere against their will. Consequences: person might become depressed because you're not seeing your family anymore. You're being forced to work. Many of the females become sex slaves, Understand they're not getting any money, they're being forced to do things against their will. I can't even begin to imagine what that is like, right? Some of them become substance abusers as a coping mechanism, right? Some of them suffer from severe anxiety because they don't know what is going to happen next because they are being held against their will. Some of them are crippled by fear. Many of them contract STIs because they become sex slaves, right? And they're not using any protection. They themselves not using any protection. The person who are sexually assaulting them are having sex with them for free, not using any contraceptive, any condom, I should say, right? Solutions for this. Be aware of the signs of trafficking. Don't go anywhere to meet anybody that you don't know by yourself. Be aware of some of these employment scams. Many of them are scams. Report any suspicious activity, any suspicious movement, any suspicious vehicles. Anybody where you see talking to somebody and it looks suspicious, make a report about it. Have education campaigns so that people can be informed about human trafficking, because a lot of persons don't know that human trafficking is a real thing and it is big business and it is happening in their country. Many persons are not aware of that. Another social issue is poverty. This is a state or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Some of the causes: lack of good education, low income. When persons are not properly educated, then they can't get good jobs to support themselves, so they have no choice but to remain poor. Low income, you can never get rich off a small salary, right? Persons are unemployed or underemployed, meaning that they get a job that they are overqualified for. They can't find a job in their field of expertise. Some persons are just downright lazy, so they remain poor, right? Some persons are substance abusers and they use all the money and resources to fund their their need to abuse substance, so they remain poor. Some of the consequences: lack of good health care because they just don't have the money to eat the right things, to go to doctor, purchase the medication, right? To take care of any bad health condition that they might have. Inability to access basic needs because they don't have the money. One former prime minister said it takes cash to care. The Bible itself says that money answereth all things. So money is very, very important. There's depression and or guilt because they feel like they didn't do something right while they are poor, especially if they have children, right? They feel guilty because they can't provide for the child the way that they know that they are supposed to. Some solution: skills training so that they can become employed or self-employed, scholarships to go back to school, to finish school, to start school so that they can get a better job or become self-employed as well, to provide for themselves and their families, right? There is some backyard gardening so they can grow cash crops and make money from it. They can also have crops to eat in their household, and increasing minimum wage so that people can live better and provide better for their basic needs and wants. Another social issue is crime. This is an action or omission which constitutes an offense and is punishable by law. Some of the causes: lack of employment. So some people go there engage in criminal activities to support or to satisfy their needs or wants because they just can't find any job and they have to eat, they have to find a way to survive. It's not right, but it's their reality. Poverty also causes crime because people have a need to survive. They have to survive. They have to survive because people can't just exist like that and don't have food, don't have shelter, don't have clothing, can't provide for their children. One, broken homes where crime has become a lifestyle and a part of them, and people see nothing wrong with certain criminal activities. Look, for example, scamming. Scamming is a big thing in Jamaica, right? And some people just don't see a problem with scamming. It's just a way of life for them. Persons that are in gangs, it's just a way of life for them, and they don't see a problem with it. Persons who are money launderers, they don't see a problem with it. Peer pressure can cause people to engage in crime too, because the friend say, look here, come go on this mission with me. Or they see their friend doing it, the friend is not being caught by law enforcers, so they believe that they can also do it and get away with it. Persons are frustrated being unemployed, working in a low-income job. So they say, look here, I'm going to engage in criminal activities to make a better life for myself and my family. Some consequences, family shunned by the community because they know that that family is a criminal family. Sometimes just use one person and broad brush everybody and say that family is a criminal family, and they don't engage with them because they don't want anything to do with them, or they don't want them to hurt them as well. Community shunned by outsiders because they say a peer criminal live down there. So good. Victim may feel betrayed, and there's also fearfulness as a result of crime. Sometimes the victim is what's the word I'm looking for? It's double crossed by somebody who they know. Good. Some solutions now, education campaigns show the consequences of crime, and also to show criminals or former criminals that there is a better way. There's skills training to get people to get jobs and to become self-employed, counseling, right? And there's also victim support groups, sorry. Another social issue is teenage pregnancy. Pregnancy in a female under the age of 20, that is teenage, right? But sometimes teenage pregnancy can mean girls who are 10, 11, and also 12, because girls get pregnant as young as 9. Right? I've heard about, I don't know if any has gotten pregnant at 8, but I've heard about females getting pregnant at age 9, right? Which is a travesty. Good. Some of the causes: poor role models, peer pressure, broken homes, poor parenting, poor self-esteem, lack of education, substance abuse, right? Many times these girls, they don't feel love at home. Sometimes they don't have a father figure in their life, so they go out there and seek love elsewhere, and they get pregnant. Sometimes it's as a result of poor parenting, because parents don't see the need to have the sex talk with their children, not only the girls, but the boys too, right? Many of these teenagers, they don't know how to use contraceptives, how to use a condom, right? So they just have unprotected sex, and then they get pregnant. Some of the consequences: teenagers do not always possess the financial resources required to maintain children. And then this just continues the cycle of poverty, because the teenage mother is poor and she remains poor. And many times some of these men or boys, they deny paternity, right? So the mother is left on her own as a teenager with a child. There's no father support. That can be detrimental to the mother and also to the child. There's also education and training are derailed, leading to the cycle of poverty, because many of these girls, they drop out of school, and some of them, they never go back. So they just continue the cycle. And when that child grows up, if the child is a female, then sometimes the child gets pregnant at the same age, and then the cycle just continues and continues and continues, right? Some solution. Number one solution is abstinence, because if you're not having sex as a teenage girl, there's no possible way you can get pregnant. No, probably there are a few ways, but you guys understand what I mean, right? Education programs, right? To promote abstinence and to promote also the use of contraceptives and teach teenagers how to use them. Let us no longer allow these things to be taboo, right? We are no longer in the age of people say, oh, plane bring baby, or the bird bring the baby. No, we have to tell teenagers about sex, because sex is a real thing. Their bodies are going through changes, and it's going to demand sex because they might have these sexual feelings. You understand? So parents, guardians need to inform the teenagers, promote abstinence, but also promote the use of contraceptives, because some teenagers, they are not waiting, they are going out there and they are having sex. So we need to promote the use of contraceptives as much as how we promote abstinence, right? Counseling and youth development programs to empower them, let them know that they can wait. They don't have to yield to peer pressure to say, oh, I have to have sex. If I'm not having sex, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman. I have to have sex as an initiation process. No, you can wait. Because many times these teenagers, they cannot manage sex with their education. As soon as they start, then the education starts to go right down the toilet. So we need to promote abstinence and promote waiting as well as the use of contraceptives, right? The final social issue, I think this is the last one, is STIs/STDs, right? We no longer say STDs alone because some of them can be cured, so we call them sexually transmitted infections, not only sexually transmitted diseases. Good. So these are infections that are commonly spread by sexual activities. Causes: number one cause, unprotected sex. That's the number one cause of STIs and STDs. Some victims have been raped, right? And some have been sexually molested, right? Some of the consequences: domestic violence, divorce, infertility, some cancers, and death. Some partners, when they find out that the partner gave them an STI, STD, they would want to hurt them physically, right? Some couples break up because of this. Some women become infertile because they had the STD they contracted from a male. Women usually get it from a man, yes, because women are receivers, right? So they become infertile because STI has been there for years and they didn't know, and it has caused them to become infertile. Can also cause some cancers and cause some partners to die too. And STD like HIV, when it becomes full-blown AIDS, then many persons die. Good. Some solutions to this: abstinence, number one, again, because if you're not having sex, then highly unlikely you can catch any of these STIs and STDs, right? Limiting sex partners. Try to remain faithful to your partner, because the more persons you have sex with, especially unprotected, is the greater chance you have of becoming infected with an STI or STD. Understand? There should be education programs informing people about STIs and STDs, the causes, the consequences, and how they can protect themselves from these STDs and STIs. Good? Use a condom. Use a condom every time. If you are going to have sex, you are at the age of consent, and you feel you need to have sex, use a condom every time, because a condom is about 98, 99% safe, right? So use a condom every time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also, again, go over to my other channel and watch some of the videos and subscribe, because I need to get 4,000 watch hours. So over there, man, and go and watch some of the videos, then man, and leave a comment and let me know that you are from the Social Studies with channel. Thank you guys for watching.